What camera stand do you use? It's called a Gatorade bottle. Ah, shit! Now we just call it candy. Oh my god! P.S. Send me a picture of your hairy feet. Sup, y'all? It's me, it's your boy, Asmongold.
Cody knew it was gonna happen. Even his own brother knew that shit wasn't gonna happen. Cause
Mythic fucking Archimon. Congratulations. Oh, yes!
I miss the old Kanye, straight from the gold Kanye, chop up the soul Kanye, set on his goals Kanye. I hate the new Kanye, the bad mood Kanye, the always rude Kanye, spaz in the news Kanye. I miss the sweet Kanye, chop up the beast Kanye. I gotta say, at that time I'd like to meet Kanye. See, I invented Kanye, it wasn't any Kanye. And now I look around and there's so many Kanyes. I used to love Kanye, I used to love Kanye. I even had the pink polo, I thought I was Kanye. What if Kanye made a song about Kanye? Call I miss the old Kanye. Man, that be so Kanye. That's all it was, Kanye. We still love Kanye. And I love you like Kanye loves Kanye.
I don't like making apologies because I think words don't matter. But I do think changed actions and changed behaviors do. And so you can take my apology as hopefully better content. And if you're not seeing that, I want you to hold me accountable. Hopefully this time I won't be stupid enough to ignore it.
Fuck. This tastes like shit. Good evening. My name is Detective Mike Slongdong, and today we're here to investigate the disappearance of the beloved YouTuber Asmongold. You may know him as one of the biggest streamers of all time. But what you may not know is that he disappeared a long time ago. I can't fucking do it. You may be thinking, Asmongold's alive. What are you talking about? He hasn't been disappearing recently. This man and this man are not the same. And I'm here to figure that out. It don't get any easier, you know that. Don't get any easier after all these years.
Throw the cigarette in the water.
No, that's littering. There's a cop right there.
Oh.
Before I start this video, I want to be honest. This was supposed to be the first video on this channel. I've made this video 4 times now, and every single time I finished it, done the writing, the editing, and the scripting, I would walk away disappointed. Either because I didn't like how it turned out, or because I'm scared of what it will do to my channel. Not because I'm scared of Asmongold and his fan base. Truthfully, I don't care if this video gets dislike bombed and all of my top comments are a bunch of pseudo-intellectuals trying to correct me, but because this video is a gamble. If it does as well as I think it will, I could get locked into making nothing but drama videos for the rest of my YouTube career.
Jesus fucking Christ, like, get a hobby, dude.
The first video that I ever made that did slight numbers is the pirate software video that you've probably all seen. And ever since then, I've been trying to branch out with little to no success. I don't want to get trapped in a niche, but this video could just put me in a deeper hole. Truthfully, I want to talk about whatever I want. I could make a video about Sonic the Hedgehog one day, and then make a drama video a week later. But this video needs to be made. Not because of whatever drama Asmongold may or may not be in at the time of this video's posting, but because I used to be a fan of Asmongold. There was a point in my life where Asmongold was my favorite streamer. This was before the politics and before all the controversies that surround this man. His fall from grace is something that needs to be studied because these two people are not the same. They may share the same name and face, but one person is a complete caricature of the other.
Oh shit, I'm recording that. I didn't know. I think I hit the button on accident. Man, I'm so sexy. All right, now listen. I know you probably clicked on this video to watch me lampoon this man that you may or may not like for 40 minutes to an hour, however long this video is. That is kind of the biggest aspect of this video, but
that's not what this video completely is. For the majority of this video, I am going to be going into detail, kind of telling you what Asmongold used to be and why I liked him. Yes, I am going to be very mean to him later on in the video, but that's like near the end. So even if you're a fan of him and you're here just to watch me say mean things about your favorite streamer and then leave a hate comment debunking whatever I'm saying with facts and logic, you're gonna have to wait. You gotta eat your greens before you get to your dessert. All right, so enjoy the video. Sit back. It took me a long time to make this. I play World of Warcraft. It's been my main game for as long as I can remember. I started in 2008 when my parents got me the battle chest for Christmas and agreed to pay for my subscription. I probably still have one of those old guidebooks laying around somewhere, so here it is if I do. So yeah, this definitely did not come with the battle chest, but I mean, I have this. I had it laying around in my closet. 2008. Yeah. I love this game. I don't care how much of a mess this game has become compared to how it used to be. The world and its lore has hooked me since I was a kid. But World of Warcraft has a problem. Sometimes you need guides, because if you put up the mount journal in the game, there are hundreds upon hundreds of mounts, but the game doesn't really tell you in detail how to get them. Usually it's tied to an achievement, or it just tells you the name of the vendor that sells it. But it doesn't tell you that you need to be exalted with a certain reputation to even think about buying it. And it doesn't tell you how to get exalted with that reputation. And the same goes for gold. There are so many ways to make gold in the game, but the game doesn't really tell you how to do it. So the best thing to do is go on the internet and find out. There were tons of World of Warcraft guides back in the day for pretty much any problem you had in the game, but there was one issue. Most guides were not very helpful, or they were incredibly outdated, and that's where Asmongold came in.
The one thing that I haven't shown that a lot of people need to know, especially the ones that have all the pest mounts achievements by the way, is how to get a girlfriend in World of Warcraft.
You see, Asmongold did something simple and rare. He didn't bullshit you in his videos. If you watched one of his videos, you got exactly what you needed. Even now, most of his old guides still hold up because he knew what he was doing. He respected your time and didn't lie to you like the hundreds of different videos out there. During Mists of Pandaria, WoW YouTube was full of clickbait. There are so many videos out there around this time that are like, oh, you'll make 10,000 gold in an hour, or you'll get this mount in 30 minutes or less. And all of them were just straight up lying. They didn't want to actually help you with your problem, they only wanted you to watch their video. And Asmongold didn't do that. I wasn't really a fan per se at this time, but every time I would look up something, he would be one of the first people to pop up. So I always knew who he was.
Oh my god! How can you be this bad? Do you have Mortal Strike bound to F12? Because you know what you should rebind it to? Alt F4. So nobody ever has to see you again. Granted, if people want to see you in the first place, they gotta scroll pretty far down on the damage meters. And you know something? After all my years of playing, I've learned something. It's that people who suck in the game suck in real life. Do you even have any friends? Because if you do, I certainly hope you don't ask them to play with you, because I would never inflict that on anybody that I cared about.
Mists of Pandaria was peak WoW addiction for me. I played during Wrath and Cataclysm, sure, but around this time I still went outside, you know? But when Mists of Pandaria came out, I had just moved states and lost almost all my friends in the process. So all I did was play World of Warcraft all day. So I was a pretty frequent viewer of Asmongold, even though I really didn't know who he was. But every guide he made was incredibly helpful. Like, no, seriously, not long ago, I used one of his guides to get the Flame Ward Hippogriff.
All you have to do is ask a very simple question. Are you a girl IRL or in real life? And if she says yes, you're good to go, dude. That's it. And if she says no, well, then you don't want to talk to her, because obviously nobody ever lies on the internet.
Even though I was playing this game for almost every day of every hour, and I was having a ton of fun with it, not everyone was. Mists of Pandaria was an incredibly controversial expansion. Even though it was a pretty good expansion content-wise, people could not get past the pandas. People hated the entire aesthetic of this expansion. Most people thought it was a joke at first, because there was no way that World of Warcraft, of all things, is making a Kung Fu Panda expansion. So after Mists of Pandaria and the final patch released, we had a year-long drought of content. So when Blizzard announced Warlords of Draenor, people were hyped. I remember seeing videos back in the day saying that World of Warcraft is back and the war was back in Warcraft. At launch, people loved it. The community tends to forget how supportive everyone was of Warlords of Draenor when it released. The raids were top tier, the world building was crazy good, and we actually had a cool and intimidating villain for once. We had updated player models and incredible new cinematics. It felt like World of Warcraft was officially back. This is one of the first times in years that the subscriber count of the game actually started going up again. But behind the scenes, the expansion wasn't finished. Blizzard promised features that never came. A scrapped island at the top right corner of the map that was supposed to be the Ogre homeland, 2 new capital cities for both Horde and Alliance, and an entire scrapped Shattrath raid. The developers blamed the garrison system for the lack of content in the expansion, but I don't totally believe that, because the current expansion coming out has full-blown player housing. Even though the content that we did get was really good, Blackrock Foundry was one of the best raids that Blizzard has ever released. It is still pretty unforgivable that all of these promises never came to fruition. When the final raid dropped, instead of fighting the villain that we've been building towards the entire time, we fought Archimonde again. And the main villain that has been hyped up throughout the entire expansion just gets to walk away scot-free. He helped us fight Archimonde and then screamed that Draenor was free. That is kind of shitty storytelling, don't you think? Grommash committed genocide throughout this entire expansion, killed so many Draenei it's not even funny, and he also threatened Azeroth with an invasion. And for some reason, the writers thought it was a great idea to make him our ally. But that's fine, the next expansion is just around the corner, right?
I think the main reason why people have quit is because there's nothing left to do.
Basically what's going on is I'm not playing the game anymore.
This now fractured community, the lifeblood of the game, got split even further.
Big miss here, Blizzard. First of all, this would be fine if we had at least 5 raids in WOD, but we only had 3, one of them being High Mall.
You know how I mentioned earlier that Mists of Pandaria had a year-long content drought? Well, at least in that expansion, you had stuff to do. But in Warlords of Draenor, there was literally nothing. You could go back and farm old dungeons endlessly for hours on end, but there was no new content. The only thing you could really do was do the final raid over and over again, or grind Apexis crystals until you were hard. This content drought lasted 14 months. 14 months of nothing to do. Warlords of Draenor became infamous because of this, for being a boring expansion with nothing to do during the drought. So the biggest question is, how do you have fun with your favorite game when there's literally nothing to do?
Hello Internet, my name is Taliesin, and this is Evertel.
Hello.
We live together, we are together, we play video games together.
That's right.
Good.
You start making YouTube videos about it. If you look at any World of Warcraft YouTuber, you'll notice that most of them start making content seriously around the time of Warlords of Draenor. This isn't because their love for the game increased, it was because they were bored. They still loved the game, but they didn't really have anything to do. Already established World of Warcraft YouTubers also started streaming, and that's exactly what Asmongold did.
Congratulations, you never stop going big dick. Yes! Yes!
One night in 2015, a Cat Danny highlight of Asmongold's Twitch stream popped up in my YouTube recommended page. I knew who Asmongold was, of course, but I ignored it. I really wasn't a huge fan, and I just knew who he was. And a live stream of the dude doesn't really seem like the most entertaining thing for me. Then another showed up, then another. You see, when your entire YouTube recommended page is nothing but World of Warcraft content, you tend to see the same YouTubers over and over again. So one day, I decided why not, and clicked on one of these videos.
I got my snack box right here. This is my girlfriend. Okay? There's a lot of holes. I don't think there's anything wrong with the bottom of the box, honestly. See, it's basically good. Alright. Shit! God damn it.
Asmongold was a naturally pretty funny guy in his YouTube videos, but most of the stuff that he was doing was informative. There were the occasional sketches, but I only really watched his tutorials. That wasn't the case for his live streams. In his live streams, he showed so much more personality than he ever did in his YouTube videos.
I don't think that guys should play female characters. It's just wrong. It's a bunch of triggered weird boys, and that's what you call them, dude. It's not like it's gay or something like that. It's being a weird boy. So you see somebody playing a girl character and they're actually a guy in real life? That's a weird boy.
Yo, this you playing a female night elf, bro?
Most WoW streamers were PvPers that barely talked and didn't really even have a face cam, but Asmongold wasn't that. Asmongold was a complete degenerate. All he did on his live stream was play World of Warcraft while telling stories, eating Little Debbie cakes, and sitting in his mom's attic as a grown-ass man. He was unapologetically himself. If you watch these old highlight videos, there are so many moments where he will just casually say something disgusting about himself and then move on like it was nothing, because that's just the guy he was. He'll show you a box full of snacks that he's eating from, and underneath it would be a nest of roaches. And he didn't care. He continued to eat out of that box. His room was a total disaster, and he'd mentioned not showering for weeks with absolutely no care in the world. And it was all part of his charm. You will never get another Asmongold. There are influencers nowadays who act disgusting and keep gross rooms, but it's all an act and a bit. It's mostly just to engagement bait. But Asmongold was not putting up an act. This is just who he was. It was disgusting, but I loved it. Even though these streams were gross most of the time, there's something oddly comforting about it. Moments like when his mom would come into his room and give him a present, or when he'd randomly show you stuff that he bought at Walmart to add to his snack box. It was all so genuine. Granted, I was not watching these live. I was only watching the Cat Danny highlights, but those highlights got me through some rough times. I don't want to turn this video into a sob story, but to make it simple, I got bullied pretty badly in high school for being a nerdy kid that liked making YouTube videos. And after I found these highlights, and I saw a dude who was pretty much just like me. He was a nerdy guy who loved World of Warcraft and barely went outside and enjoyed making content. And somehow people just loved him for that. It helped me through those times. As weird as it sounds, Asmongold was a big role model for me as a teenager. not his lifestyle, I promise, no. But the fact that he was able to be himself and do what he loves and somehow be successful from it. I know that's like every YouTuber's backstory, but there's something different about how Asmongold became popular. If you look at most big YouTubers, you can tell that they were built for success in some way. They were naturally really talented or pretty attractive. And then there was Asmongold, a balding middle-aged man who still lived at his mom's house and played WoW all day. He didn't have any valuable skills unless you count his WoW knowledge. Asmongold is the antithesis of what you're told to do to be successful on the internet. And yet, somehow he succeeded. His identity goes against literally everything you're told about success. People grow up hearing that you have to graduate college, get a degree, work out, and be the best version of yourself. And yet there was Asmongold. He wasn't an ex-pro gamer. He isn't incredibly attractive or has a perfect personality. He was just a guy who never ate vegetables, a guy who was balding, a guy who probably never touched a weight in his life, a guy who for years did nothing but play World of Warcraft. Asmongold shouldn't have succeeded, but he did, and that's why I liked him when I was younger. His content told me I didn't have to be this ideal version of myself to succeed. I could be successful by being myself and being true to who I am. Say what you want about Asmongold around this time. You can call him a loser or a degenerate, but he was probably happier than you'll ever be in your life.
All right, so here's the snack box right over here. So, and some of these I need to throw away, right? There's like this Twinkie here. Listen. That's not a Twinkie, dude. That's like a pencil.
Back then, Asmongold was a niche content creator. Almost all of his videos did decently, but he was never huge in the grand scheme of things.
So anyway, again, thank you for watching, and like, comment, and subscribe.
But those live stream highlights alone exposed him to a whole new group of people. Unlike modern clip channels that are just 40-minute uncut segments, these were fast-paced and highly edited 10-minute videos. They weren't made with profit in mind, they were made out of love for the game. Almost every video had copyrighted music as well, so Cat Danny didn't really even make money off of them. The editing wasn't perfect, but Asmongold's natural talent for streaming carried these videos.
All right. Oh boy, naughty boy!
I fucking got it. Yeah. Yes, dude. Fuck, that hurt. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. All right, boys. Here it fucking goes. The meme is dead.
He showed more personality than he ever did in his YouTube guides. Most people who watched him around this time didn't even really play World of Warcraft anymore. They literally only showed up for Asmongold, but his content was still centered around World of Warcraft and how much fun that game could be. Keep in mind, this is still the early days. Warlords of Draenor is the reason he started, but when the next expansion rolled around, Asmongold peaked.
Now listen, Asmongold is not a very good guy. You shouldn't listen to his you shouldn't listen to his political beliefs.
My nose is running.
What? What?
I'm untouchable, and I've never felt so good in my life. I'm untouchable, got an 8x scope on my M416. I'm untouchable.
World of Warcraft Legion released in 2016 and is pretty much universally praised as one of the best World of Warcraft expansions ever. It was more of a you had to be there moment. After 14 months of no content, you were met with nothing but good content and a lot of it. There were so many secrets to find, returning characters getting brand new lore, and a villain that actually matters. Every class had unique questlines that fit perfectly into their character. This is where all World of Warcraft content peaked in my opinion, because the game was so good and there was so much to do. People had such a good attitude towards the game. Case and point.
Today's the day the meme dies. I get this mount. Right now. I told you guys! See? What did I fucking say, dude? What did I fucking say, dude? What did I fucking say? I knew it, dude. There it is, right there. Oh my fucking god, man. What the fuck, dude? 430 mount. This is it. The meme is fucking dead. I told you guys I was gonna fucking get it, and I fucking got it. There it is. The torn invitation. Who the fuck was telling me there was a bug? It's not a bug, dude. There's a mount. It's right there. There it is. There it is. I got it on my first try. Look at that. The meme is dead. The time is now. The mount is in the motherfucking bag.
This was, in my opinion, the best era for Asmongold. If you go and look back to any iconic moment from his streams, excluding the new political stuff, it comes from this era. This was the same Asmongold from 2015. Literally nothing changed about his personality, but the quality of the content and the amount of stuff he was doing on stream uplifted him beyond comprehension. This is where Asmongold became the literal god. He could look at a piece of gear in game and tell you exactly what dungeon it came from and what expansion. His mount collection and transmog library is something that could put you to shame. Even if you play this game all day, you could not compete with 2016 Asmongold. It's physically impossible to do better than him at this game. Maybe you could beat him in a duel, but in the long term he was winning because he had more mounts than you, more achievements, and more experience than you could ever imagine. People tend to forget this era, but if you were around in 2018 to 2020, you might remember the fact that he was pretty much losing every mount off he was organizing. But during 2016, during Legion, there was no hope in the universe you could beat him. Asmongold was the best WoW streamer of all time, more entertaining than any streamer around at this time, and he was better at the game than them. That's why he was the literal god. It wasn't some random tagline. It was a title that fit. Asmongold devoted his life to this game, and it showed. He came into streaming with the biggest dick in the game, crushing any WoW streamer who even hoped to succeed. Who cares if you're the best PvPer of all time? Asmongold was 100 times funnier than you, and he had more mounts than you could ever achieve. I know it feels like I'm just kind of sucking his dick right now, and that's because I am, but I want to emphasize that this is what Asmongold was. He was the best WoW streamer of all time, and one of the most entertaining people on the internet. This era didn't last forever, but when it was happening, it was a great time to be an Asmongold fan. Before moving on, I want to compare some of these old highlights to his most recent WoW content. I don't want to get into the political stuff just yet, but I want to look at these two clips side by side.
Give me that. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you. Well, the stream, keep it up. Well, thanks a lot, dude. I appreciate it. I love your money. I'm gonna use it on Battle Pass. Don't you wish they'd do that more? Thank you, man. How much was that? 2 gold? Thank you.
No dragon? Dragon needs nuts. It's fine. I'm gonna pull. You guys get it?
Do you notice something? It just seems like his love for the game is gone, and the spark that once was there just isn't there anymore.
What's up, y'all? It's me. It's your boy Asmongold. It's your boy Asmongold. What's up, y'all? It's me. It's your boy Asmongold.
Earlier in this video, I was mentioning a channel by the name of Cat Danny. This wasn't Asmongold. This was just some random guy who made music and edited Asmongold clips. But around this time, other than Asmongold's main channel, there was no official highlight channel. There were tons of highlight channels out there, but none of them Asmongold actually owned. So after his 2016 to 2017 peak, Asmongold had a devious idea. Why not hire a couple of these clip channels and pay them to run an official Asmongold account? That channel became Asmongold TV. Honestly, it sounds kind of greedy on paper, and later on I'm going to insult the content being put out on this channel, but from what I know, Asmongold is a pretty generous guy when it comes to his editors. They run the entire channel and do all the editing, thumbnails, and titles, and from what I can see, they get a really big chunk of change from this channel, if not all of it. Asmongold has made millions off of Twitch, and based off of his monk-like lifestyle, I doubt he really needs more money. So, though I will be criticizing modern day Asmongold, this is the one thing I can give him. But back to the point, Asmongold TV became the #1 place for all Asmongold related content. The clip channels still existed out there, but none of them could hold a candle to the official one. There were several videos posted a day, officially endorsed by Asmongold. The first couple of years of this channel can only be described as pure bliss. In my opinion, the quality went down a little compared to the Cat Danny highlights, but the amount of content and the variety of stuff coming out was unmatched. Sometimes it was World of Warcraft, and other times it was literally anything else Asmongold wanted to do. You didn't know what you would get. There were things like transmog competitions, mount-offs, best of moments, Reddit recaps, and sometimes he's just doing the current raid in the game. Around this time, the World of Warcraft expansion Battle for Azeroth was out. There was a ton of content in this expansion, and it all wasn't terrible, but compared to Legion, it was incredibly underwhelming. Almost every World of Warcraft YouTuber hated it. The expansion felt like it was filled with busy work. It felt like a job and a chore, and you could tell Asmongold just wasn't enjoying the game like he used to. There was still passion, but he wasn't enjoying really playing the game.
Okay. Yeah.
But the Asmongold TV account peaked during this moment. The commentary was funnier, the variety was better, and even if you weren't a WoW fan, you could still enjoy him. With just one look at his channel page, you could tell that there was variety. Reddit recaps were literally just him looking at memes that his fanbase made about him. Mount-offs were an Asmongold staple. He'd tell everyone to circle around him. He'd mount up, and everyone had to match it. And if you didn't have that mount, you were out. He'd do rarer and rarer mounts until 2 people were left, and then they'd 1v1 and the winner gets to go against Asmongold. The content was practically just making itself. He had great foundation, and his personality lifted it tenfold. My personal favorites were the setup roasts and Reddit recap. Speaking of Reddit, after this section, I was going to talk about the downfall of his content, but I don't really know where to put this. Asmongold's subreddit is incredibly racist and filled with hate speech. This isn't what it used to be. In the 2010s and early 2020s, his subreddit was mostly just fans making memes about whatever he did on stream, making fun of him for being bald, and sometimes wholesome stuff, thanking him for the content. But over the past couple years, the subreddit has evolved into a shell of its former self. Instead of being a place where you could talk about Asmongold, which is literally the fucking name of the subreddit, it became a place filled with racism and hate speech. The only correlation that these posts had with Asmongold was the fact that he looked at his subreddit every now and then for topics to talk about. There were already entire videos dissecting this, but Asmongold's subreddit is filled to the brim with hate speech, mostly towards women and immigrants. It doesn't matter if Asmongold is in control of this subreddit or not. The mods he hired to watch over it are fine with this stuff being out in the open. And on top of that, even if you want to ignore ignore this subreddit, his comment section and community love to spout out a lot of hate speech. Let's go back to 2020. After the rough expansion that was Battle for Azeroth, Blizzard announced their newest and honestly coolest looking expansion to date, the Shadowlands. This expansion was themed after the Realm of Death in the Warcraft universe. We'd never seen anything like this before, only small short stories that take place in there. And this expansion felt like a WoW 2.0. They were reworking leveling, getting rid of Titan Forging and War Forging. And on top of that, they were squishing the level cap back down to 60, so you wouldn't have to deal with all of these giant numbers. You could really see how excited Asmongold was for this expansion. This looked as cool as Wrath of the Lich King, which is WoW's best expansion to this day. During Battle for Azeroth, Asmongold drifted away from the game a bit. He wasn't one of the top players anymore. His gear wasn't great, and people have surpassed him as the quote-unquote literal god, but he still talked about WoW constantly. Even if he wasn't playing the game, he was still watching videos and reacting to Blizzard news. And as Shadowlands grew closer, you could really see that spark light up again. Before the expansion even came out, he and a bunch of people were planning to try to get the world's first level 60 and grinding during the beta. After one delay, Shadowlands officially launched. People tend to forget this, but the early consensus of Shadowlands is that it was really fun. The world had a totally different art style than most of World of Warcraft, but in a really good way. And the cinematics were better than ever. And on top of that, the first raid tier that launched with this expansion was actually really good. Asmongold even posted a first impression on his alt account saying that it was fun and it was a return to form. But eventually, reality does set in. A couple months later, people realized that the content wasn't actually really good. It was the same borrowed power mechanic that we've had over and over again, and Covenants were basically just a gigantic reputation grind with a fancy coat of paint. Torghast was supposed to be a cool roguelike dungeon and was kind of one of the main selling points of this expansion, but in practice, it was the same room over and over again. It became a weekly chore to grind out a legendary currency. It didn't really give you many upgrades, mostly just currency and random cosmetics. There was no real incentive to go there just for fun. Shadowlands became known as the worst expansion World of Warcraft has ever had. It was so bad that I actually quit the game, which says a lot because even during Warlords of Draenor, I never stopped playing. And this is what broke Asmongold. When the expansion first came out, he was playing it very regularly, but over time, he stopped. World of Warcraft stopped being part of his channel. He never really picked up the game again, outside of a couple offshoots. Ever since Shadowlands, he's only played World of Warcraft a handful of times. If you look at his content around this time, most of it was reaction content and him dabbling in new games once in a while, which he was never good at, but I don't want to be mean here, you know. Asmongold, as of now, is no longer a World of Warcraft streamer. He became a variety streamer. That in of itself is not bad, but this was the downfall of Asmongold. Because instead of replacing World of Warcraft with a brand new passion, he replaced it with the easiest content you could ever produce. After leaving World of Warcraft behind, Asmongold was left with one question. What now? World of Warcraft was his bread and butter for years. It was his #1 personality trait. So without World of Warcraft, what is Asmongold? That's a question that I still don't know the answer to. Instead of evolving his content and creating new things for people to watch, which is kind of the entire point of making things on the internet, he found it easier to watch other people's videos in their entirety. Asmongold always did some reaction content, but it was always kind of a side thing that he would do while he'd wait for like a rare to spawn in the game. But instead of it being a side quest, it became his main objective. Asmongold was no longer a gamer. He became a commentator. He'd find things on YouTube or Twitter that didn't really even involve him in the slightest and give his opinion to millions of people. But instead of putting a fun twist on his reaction like most commentary YouTubers do, his editors decided it'd be easier to become another slop channel, and somehow became one of the worst ones ever. As of now, Asmongold has been doing this for years. Most of the things he does on stream is just watch other people's YouTube videos in their entirety. Reaction content by itself honestly isn't evil, but this form of reaction content is the laziest form of content that you could ever put out on the internet. Let's go back in time for just a second. Do you guys remember the YouTuber Jinx? Back in the mid-2010s, Jinx took over YouTube and flooded everyone's recommended page with reaction videos. But instead of adding anything of substance to the video, he would just watch the video in its entirety, barely talking with not a single jump cut in it. Back then, almost every single YouTuber ever was making fun of Jinx for very valid reasons. People saw it as lazy and shameless content that piggybacked off of other people's hard work. Because if you put days or even months into one video, and someone gets equal or even more views just by watching it and maybe pausing it a couple times, it's infuriating. It made it feel like hard work and originality was dead in the water. So YouTubers rightfully started fighting back.
Yo Jinx, that was a dope ass video, man. That was just hella tight. I really like the part where you played my video in its entirety and then didn't really react to it, just kind of sat there. I also like the part where you added virtually no insight. You just kind of rambled on for about 5 minutes and missed the point entirely.
So tell me why this type of content is so normalized now. Why do streamers and YouTubers devolve into doing nothing but making reaction videos? Why is it that streamers like XQC can react to literal tragedies from his multi-million-dollar mansion and get little to no pushback? There's something so dystopian about this genre of content.
Are the fighters like moving and shit? Like,
so when Asmongold switched to reaction content, he mostly kept it in the gaming genre. Almost every video he reacted to had something to do with the gaming industry, gaming news, or drama going around it. At least he mostly stayed in his lane. Asmongold was still known as a gaming YouTuber around this time, even though he barely played games on stream.
Man, what the fuck, dude? No, what the fuck, dude? Man, what the fuck, dude? Okay, go on down, dude.
I don't know how to cleanly transition into this because I don't know exactly when this change occurred, but at some point, Asmongold decided that it would be better to just insert himself into politics. Instead of reacting to gaming news, which was kind of where he was welcomed, he decided to just start reacting to the actual news. I want to make sure you heard this correctly. The World of Warcraft degenerate, who still lived at his mom's house, and has done practically nothing with his life except for make content on the internet, became a political streamer. Do you hear how ridiculous that sounds? At first, he presented himself as kind of a centrist and would take whatever side he believed in most. A lot of his takes were the equivalent of, hey, grass is green, but on the outside, he seemed like a well-meaning guy who just wanted to see both sides. There were moments where he'd say something I personally didn't agree with, but everyone is entitled to their own opinion, as long as you're not actively hurting people. And it's kind of surprising to say, Asmongold is a very intelligent guy. Most of what he said made sense. It just kind of throws you off when it's coming from a guy who lives like a feral beast and a degenerate. But little did everyone know that this was the beginning of the end. I don't know exactly when this happened, and I don't know where to pinpoint this because Asmongold has thousands upon thousands of videos, and I'm not going to watch all of them trying to find the moment he became a right-wing Republican. But one day, Asmongold decided it would be a much better option to start kind of grifting towards the far right.
These people are not your allies. They are not the same as us. They come from an inferior culture that is horrible. It kills people.
Anyway, let's talk about politics. Yeah, I know people, it's really funny for me to hear people always ask like you'll go and you'll ask a video game streamer. I saw somebody ask like, who do you support, Palestine or Israel? Like, number one, this isn't a sports match. And there's like real people on both sides. And number two, like, I play World of Warcraft. What do you mean?
He still claimed he was a centrist and he had all of these mixed opinions, but almost every single thing he was saying kind of aligned with the right.
And the problem is that these people are advocating for the decline of America at the expense of Americans for the best interest of foreign peoples and foreign countries.
Again, I don't think this is inherently terrible if you actually believe in these topics, but Asmongold is doing things kind of differently. Instead of being like every other political streamer and stating an opinion and debating people, Asmongold just kind of watches videos, says something kind of offensive, then moves on. And that invited a whole new audience for Asmongold. I kind of guarantee that 90% of the people that watched him during his World of Warcraft days no longer watch him because of this. He cultivated an audience that doesn't like the other side of politics, and an audience that doesn't like being confronted. Asmongold changed for the worse, and so did his audience. Though gaming content did still exist on his channel and, he streams it every now and then, it was pretty much completely gone. The wholesome subreddit that just shared funny memes about Asmongold became a hate speech riddled right-wing community. Instead of being a funny, relatable guy who just wanted to play games all day, Asmongold has turned into a narcissistic, racist, smug asshole. Now, before I go any deeper into the fall of Asmongold, I feel like it's best to kind of confess something. About 5 years ago, I was an active TikToker. I had an account with over 180,000 followers and started off by making dumb dance videos and cringe edits that I was way too old to be making.
No boy has all 7? Fuck.
But around election season, I realized something. If I made videos about politics, it was literally the easiest way to gain followers and views. I had this weird obsession with wanting to get 100,000 followers and to go mega viral, and I felt like this was the best way to do it. Before pivoting into political content, my follower count was stagnant. I had a very dedicated group of followers who watched almost every single video I made, but I was not growing. Being very honest, I am a leftist. But instead of making content centered around being a leftist, I realized if I said a controversial opinion, more eyes would see it. And it worked really, really well. If you really want to, you could go back to that old TikTok account. My most popular videos are me saying a bunch of bullshit that I don't actually agree with, because I wanted followers. And the fan base I attracted was mostly right-winged incels who hated women and didn't care about basic human decency. Sorry if I offended you, if you were like an old TikTok follower, sorry. I remember I had a Discord server around the time and someone posted stuff about the Ku Klux Klan and like an edit of them, and I realized I was way too far gone. At first, I really loved the attention. I loved waking up to that 99+ notifications every morning, and I was finally getting the attention I craved for so long. But I realized I could no longer be myself because people expected something different from me. They wanted me to be controversial and to stand up for men's rights and to shut down any modern woman opinion, and I absolutely hated it. I tried to go back to the old content I was making before making political stuff, but no one would fucking watch it. The audience I cultivated wouldn't care about the stuff I was doing outside of saying some random political opinion that didn't really move the needle anywhere. So after a lot of thinking, I left TikTok. I've done some like comebacks every now and then because I had a weird addiction to the app, but no one really cared unless I was making controversial videos. I'm not saying this is exactly what happened to Asmongold, but if it is, I relate, and I recognize the pattern. Making a controversial opinion and having all these people talk about you is incredibly addictive. And on top of that, I just want to be transparent and just tell you what my political opinions are. I am not on the same political side as Asmongold, but this isn't the reason I'm making this video. If I wanted to make a video on someone I disagreed with politically, I would make a video about like Nick Fuentes or something. If you look at Asmongold's YouTube channel now, you'll see the same thing over and over again. He reacts to some controversial topic, either says something so safe it barely moves the needle, or something so ignorant it's borderline misogyny and racism. And when he isn't doing that, he makes hour-long videos rage-baiting leftist streamers because they mentioned him briefly on stream. The easiest example I could come up with was Hasan. Asmongold has made an absurd amount of videos on Hasan, and every thumbnail has him screaming like a crazy person. But in reality, Hasan barely mentions him. The The only reason Asmongold is doing this is because he wants Hasan to talk about him more, so he can farm even more content off of him. I'm not even a huge fan of Hasan, and I think he's done a lot of dumb things, but Asmongold has painted this narrative that Hasan is this crazy screaming liberal who cannot stop talking about him.
Afraid to say, what the fuck are you saying? This is
You're right. People are too afraid of doing this, but they're so afraid of it. They're constantly sending me death threats and, you know, like invoking my dead parents. You're right. That's totally, but it's actually...
And that's just not the case. If you go to Hasan's YouTube channel, there are only a handful of videos about Asmongold, and the rest of the videos are him actually talking about real world events, which is literally the job of a political streamer, by the way. But Asmongold doesn't even do that. He doesn't do anything political streamers usually do. For a guy who's made hundreds of videos about political streamers, he's never debated them except for once. Asmongold never leaves his safety circle of viewers who echo his own opinions. And even though Asmongold says controversial opinions loud and proud, he'll never test them publicly for one simple reason. He is a complete coward.
To a debate? Well, yeah, I would always debate him. He's never talking to me.
Why would I ever debate anybody for any reason?
King! True! King!
I know I'm right.
True!
It's obvious that I'm right.
It's self-evident. True!
Why would I give Destiny a platform to lie?
True.
Why would I do that? Doesn't make sense.
Can't have these conversations.
He's gone too far to go back to what he used to be, and I don't think he wants to. He's bigger now than he could ever be when he was a World of Warcraft YouTuber, but was it actually worth it? When he was a World of Warcraft YouTuber, he was loved. He had some drama with other WoW YouTubers, but most of the fanbase liked him. There was endless fan art, and people would join his server Kel'Thuzad just to get a glimpse of him in-game. He was seen as a down-to-earth chill guy with an unwavering passion for World of Warcraft. But now, it's too late for him. He can no longer go back to being a gaming YouTuber because he's cultivated a right-winged audience that mostly only want to be there for his controversial opinions. Their main goal whenever they watch an Asmongold stream is to see liberals get owned and iced be praised. If you look anywhere on the internet outside of his own fanbase, you'll see nothing but people just making fun of him and saying that they don't like him. Normal conservatives and Republicans think he's weird because he doesn't shower, and people on the left just think he spouts nothing but right-wing rhetoric while living in his mom's attic. The only place he is welcome is his own fanbase that has been built off of his controversial political opinions. Politics are all he can really talk about nowadays. He's trying to be this grounded dude with common sense, but he doesn't really put any effort into researching these topics, so in most cases, he is wrong and can be easily debunked. He likes to say a lot of things are quote-unquote common sense, so he doesn't really need to do any research. But common sense doesn't really apply to these extremely intricate and complicated situations going on in the world. Common sense is best used in everyday scenarios, not politics. If I rely on common sense for stuff that needs research, I come out looking like a total idiot. But Asmongold is in this weird state where he can be wrong about stuff, but people will still praise him because he acts so smug about it and refuses to back down on his word. Almost every take that he's made can be boiled down to nothing more than I think and I feel statements, instead of actual facts backed by research, and his fanbase doesn't care. They follow him because they like what he's saying, not because what he's saying is true. It's a great bonus if what he's saying is true, but it doesn't matter if he's wrong. He's a complete shadow of what he used to be, and it shames me to say that there was once a point that I was a fan of him, because these two people are not the same. This man is the literal god, and this man is a coward. Asmongold, you're a coward. I don't mean coward because of your political opinions. I mean coward because you refuse to stand on anything you say outside of your own echo chamber. Every single political streamer on Earth will go on a show, take in calls from viewers, debate someone live, and get publicly embarrassed if they're wrong. But you don't do that. You sit in your room and talk to an audience of yes men, which is a mix of bitter old men and 13-year-old edgelords. And you act like that's bravery because you said it confidently, but in reality, you're too scared to get publicly embarrassed. You built a career off of being the World of Warcraft guy who knows absolutely everything about this game. The one person people watch because they knew that something real was there. But that guy no longer exists. Now you're nothing more than a reaction streamer that profits off of rage baiting. and you come up with the dumbest points to defend your opinions. You said an entire race of people is below you, and that they come from an inferior culture. Then later you came back with your tail between your legs, did an apology and acted like you were growing. But you didn't grow, you were just doing damage control. And you know it, because if you actually believed in your apology, your content would have changed, but it didn't. If anything, it got worse. If you're watching this video right now, Asmongold, I have purposely used copyrighted music so you can't watch it in your own echo chamber. But if you want to discredit absolutely everything I said in this video and prove me wrong, debate someone reputable live. Debate Hasan again. Debate Destiny. You say, oh, I don't want to platform anyone that says all this hateful stuff. No, you're a fucking coward, Asmongold. You could choose from the dozens of people that you farmed for millions of views. I think you owe them. Give them a debate. Or better yet, go on a talk show. Go on someone else's stream. Leave your little safe bubble and put your ideas in a room where you can't mute out the criticism. But I know you will not do that. Because you're not this incredibly smart guy that knows everything. You're a guy that found out that rage baiting and outrage pays off. And you got addicted to being cheered for being the worst possible version of yourself. So you may be winning in the short term, getting all these views and all this adoration from your own fan base. But in the long term, when people think of you, Asmongold, they're not going to think of the World of Warcraft literal god. They're going to think of you as the guy who said some racist shit and got famous off of it. You're a complete shell of your former self. You're a coward and you're a racist. And that will be your legacy for the rest of your life. Not as a funny little guy that played World of Warcraft. Not as the person that recorded his mom hitting level 60. You're going to be remembered as a racist. And that was your choice. So you made it to the end of the video. Good job. I'm proud of you. Your attention span is very good, I bet. So this was the first really long video I've ever made. And I've been going back and forth on how to end this. I was thinking it would be really hard and really cool to end it on the "this was your choice, Asmongold" type of thing, but I felt like everything landed flat. So I feel like the best way to end this video is just to have a little talking segment before everything goes to shit. Right before I post this, I'm recording this probably the night I post it. Before everything's done and over with, I have just a couple ending thoughts. I really kind of forgot to mention a lot of things, so I just want to put them out here. Asmongold's current videos fucking suck. Okay, I didn't know where to put this, but they're absolutely atrocious. They're like 40 minutes to an hour long reaction videos with AI generated thumbnails. So if you still like him, maybe stop liking him now because he uses fucking AI in his thumbnails. I also want to mention Asmongold is the biggest grifter I've ever seen. Yes, I mentioned that he was a grifter like once in this video, but I really need to hammer this in. He's grifting towards the right. There's no doubt in my mind that this is just all a total grift, and he's doing this for money and attention. I think once he realized that he couldn't play World of Warcraft anymore, he was scared that his relevance was just going to wean off one day. If you haven't noticed, I've used a lot of copyrighted music in this video, and I'm not going to make a cent off of it. And if this video does as well as I think it will, that's going to be very unfortunate. So I decided to open up channel memberships. If you do want to support me and you want to give me some money to make this my full-time job like I want it to be, you can go ahead and do that. Right now I have absolutely no perks, no emojis. I might commission some emojis one day, but right now there's nothing there. But if you want to support me, that will be freaking awesome. Eventually things will come out for the membership stuff, but right now I don't really have anything set up. So it's more of a, give me free money. That sounds so bad. It won't be, you'll get stuff. You'll get stuff eventually, I promise. If you decide to subscribe to me because of this video and you're hoping for drama videos, tough shit. I'm not only going to do drama videos. There are a couple more I have planned eventually, but my future with this channel is going to be literally whatever I want. I could review a video game in like 3 weeks. You don't know, okay? Like I want to make whatever I want, but this video was kind of supposed to be my magnum opus, my first video on this channel to really start off strong. But every single time I would finish it, I just could not hit post on it. I hope I don't do that with this video because, you know, this was like fucking 2 months of my life wasted. I think that's the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If the comments are really bad, that's gonna suck, but I don't really care. Okay, I hope you guys have a nice day.
Go on,